On the whole, 2022 has been a pretty unpredictable year, but for those of you who follow my videos, you'll know that despite this, I still like to hazard a guess at the recruitment trends for the year ahead. So before the release of my recruitment trend forecast video for 2023, I thought I'd have a quick recap to see just how accurate my crystal ball has been in the previous 12 months. Hi, it's Emily Gregson here at Signature Career Management, where our passion is placing leading FMCG talent to transform the commercial performance of teams and organisations across the world. So if you're looking to boost the commercial performance of your business, be sure to hit subscribe and click the link in the description below to follow our LinkedIn company page for up-to-date market insight, career advice, recruitment tips, and all-round general good content. But without further ado, let's take a quick look at what I predicted would be trending in the recruitment industry over the last year and what actually happened. So, last year, I predicted that candidates would become increasingly passive when it came to job opportunities, and I think I can confidently say that we got this one right. Traditionally, the more generic and the lower cost recruitment agencies rely on active talent pools to fill their vacancies, as by their very nature, they are much easier to access, so doesn't require specialist knowledge or labour-intensive search and selection work. What we've seen as a specialist business that takes a far more premium approach ourselves is lots of businesses asking for our help because not only have they been struggling for long periods of time to fill their vacancies, but the excuse that they're hearing over and over again from their former agency partners is that there just aren't the candidates out there. This just simply isn't true. Yes, it's slightly more challenging to attract the sort of candidates that businesses want in their teams in the current landscape, but what these agencies actually mean is not that suitable candidates don't exist, just that they aren't applying for jobs. And what is more likely the case is that these agencies don't have the time, skills, or reputation to get into the passive market and attract the most qualified candidates that their clients are after. This is confirmed by a recent study which found that 86% of the most qualified candidates for job openings are already employed and not actively seeking new employment. If you look out for my upcoming Recruitment Trends of 2023 video, you'll see how I think this situation will play out in the upcoming year. But for those that think a recession is going to bring with it a glut of active candidates, you may need to think again. Now, this trend goes hand in hand with the situation with passive candidates. And although I hold my hands up and say that we haven't seen the wholesale and rapid adoption of premium candidate experiences that I believe is necessary right now, what we have seen is a large proportion of candidates walking away from all but the very best candidate journeys being provided by recruiter and hiring organisations. It's evidently going to take more time than a year for this reaction by candidates to bring about the change that I think is important and in fact necessary. But it's critical that businesses start to demand higher standards from their agency partners, as well as raising their own games if we're going to be able to see trust rebuilt with the recruitment industry. So yes, I may not have got this one spot on, but the wheels have definitely been put in motion in the past year to ensure that only the businesses with the right approach to dealing with the experiences of candidates throughout a recruitment process will be the ones who have access to top-tier talent. But don't just take my word for it on this. You just need to look at the results of a recent survey of candidates where half of its respondents said that they'd declined a job offer purely because the recruitment experience was poor. When it comes to recruitment processes, I think it's undeniable that they have been streamlined in 2022, but not in the ways that I suggested they should have been if businesses wanted to remain competitive both in the short term as well as the long term. The topic is definitely well and truly on businesses' radar though, because the recent study of the most critical recruitment policies of 2022 found that just under a quarter of businesses stated that improving time to hire was their most important challenge. Is it any wonder though, because a similar survey found that the best candidates were off the market within just 10 days. The challenge, as I pointed out though in my 2022 trends video though, is to streamline the process without losing out on the robustness of the interview campaign. And unfortunately, what we have seen a lot of over the last 12 months is businesses rushing to make job offers to avoid losing candidates to their competition, then regretting the decisions because they've either not fully vetted them against their business's needs or sufficiently assessed their cultural suitability, and then have ultimately been hit with a double whammy because in a lot of cases, they've ended up paying over the odds. So to conclude, streamlining recruitment processes was definitely a trend for 2022, but this will play out a lot longer as businesses need to learn how to achieve this in the most effective way possible. Hybrid working was clearly going to be high on the agenda in 2022, so featuring in my recruitment trends video was fairly inevitable. But to try and get a little bit more specific on this one, it is the detail that would be important to candidates, which is what I said would be an important trend over the last 12 months. Considering a recent survey found that 29% of men and 36% of women said that flexible work arrangements are critical for them to consider a role, it's evident that it's very important to a large proportion of candidates to understand a business's approach to hybrid working before they even contemplate applying for a job. From our own personal experience, what we're seeing when we speak to candidates about job opportunities is that they're clearly seeking a lot of detail across the board before they consider whether to be put forward for a job opportunity. But remote working arrangement is not just one of the first considerations that they start to delve into. For a lot of candidates, a potential employer's hybrid working strategy can often be a deal breaker. Given the importance they place on this, it's become apparent that they need more than just the simple split of home working and office-based days per week. And what they actually need by delving into the detail is assurances in their own mind that businesses have actually given ample consideration to the varieties of situations that might affect this as businesses' needs change. The very nature of some less detailed agencies is to try and gloss over this, to try and fudge through candidate placements, but we're speaking to a lot of candidates who have shunned job offers purely on the basis that they weren't confident in the assurances that they'd been given surrounding hybrid working. So I think although this is one of my 2022 predictions, I think we'll see this one gather pace for some time to come. And last but not least, my final predictions for 2022 was that there would be a greater emphasis on culture throughout recruitment processes. And I think this is another one that we can definitely agree I got right, given a recent survey of job movers in 2022 found that 1/4 of all respondents had cited better company culture as the top reason for changing jobs. Now, as with a lot of recruitment trends, they didn't come and go in the space of a year. After all, look at the shift to a candidate-focused market, which has been gradually moving further and further this way for the last 20 years. And although the emphasis on culture in recruiting has been around for a couple of years, we've definitely seen far greater impetus in the last 12 months. So I stand by my predictions that if businesses want to compete in the current and future recruitment landscapes, they'll need to look at nurturing and developing their cultures, then finding better ways of communicating them into the job space to be able to compete for top talent. And I'm not alone in thinking this. A recent study found that 84% of company recruiters say that culture fit has become a key factor when recruiting. I suspect that as this trend develops, what we'll find moving forward is that businesses start to fully appreciate the nuanced impact that culture has on performance, and then the focus will turn to culture add rather than culture fit for leaders to really leverage their efforts in these areas to drive their businesses forward. So that's my quick look back at my recruitment predictions for 2022. If you think I've done well, or even if you don't, hit subscribe and keep your eyes out for my top 5 recruitment trends for 2023 video, which will be coming out any day now. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you follow our LinkedIn company page and be sure to look out for lots more great recruitment advice from me in the upcoming year.